2004 documentary, Super Size Me, directed by Morgan Spurlock. Plot summary: while examining the influence of fast food industry, Morgan Spurlock personally explores the consequences on his health of a diet of solely McDonald's food for 1 month. Why I chose this film, it's actually interesting hearing about your framework, about you always having this experience of being a foodie. Your parents, same way, kind of grew up in that atmosphere. Definitely was not the same for me at all. So I grew up in Boston. My mom cooked a lot, but it wasn't. My parents weren't like adventurous eaters at all. Like my diet and what she would cook, which was, she's a great cook, but it was very much like the standard American suburban types of meals, like a lot of casseroles, burgers, chicken fingers, like very standard, fare. And I had not really, we also ate a lot of, not a lot, but fast food was regularly on the diet. Go to McDonald's maybe once a week, Wendy's, Burger King. And that was the cuisine and the palate that I inherited when I went off to college in Los Angeles. Still would be, fast food pretty regularly. Like I said, I wasn't really cooking much. And when I did, it would be, hot dogs, chicken fingers, very basic, frozen pizzas, things that were very basic. So this movie, when it came out, I saw it for the first time when it came out in theaters. I was just graduated from college, and it was very interesting, like revelatory in terms of realizing, wow, like this food actually is not healthy for you. And so basically, again, like Morgan Spurlock, eats McDonald's for a month and you see his body just get transformed. Obviously, he gained weight, very unhealthy, like did some tests at the end and you really showed that. But what was also interesting to me was he get into a little bit like the science of the food too, and how these companies like McDonald's, Burger King, really any company that makes processed foods, they're designing the food to taste good, but also be addicting in a way. And it really made me think about, okay, I have to really be looking at what's in this food that I actually am eating. All these chemicals, all these ingredients. And I was like, wow, this is actually not, I wasn't necessarily doing it for a health reason, like I have to lose weight or, I was very unhealthy. But I started looking at what I was eating and realizing, like, again, this food was designed to be addicting and not necessarily to taste good. And actually seeing that film, what I started doing, and I still do this in the similar fashion even to this day, is just cutting things out of my diet. So I started being very aware of, okay, so cutting down on sugars, stopped eating fast food, haven't drank soda since seeing this movie. Like a lot of these things I started removing from my diet. And even to this day, like I start cutting down on, maybe I don't drink as much milk as I really should, stay away from certain, white flours. So every couple of years I'm thinking, well, maybe there's something else to kind of eliminate from my diet that's not really that healthy. So it really was this movie actually that made me kind of wake up to needed to pay attention a little bit more about what I put in me, and to see food as something that wasn't so, as just something that was for sustenance. So this really started this journey that eventually led to me becoming someone who then appreciates food. But the first step for me was realizing, okay, what am I eating? What is in this stuff? And then starting to shift my diet away from, processed foods, fast foods. And then you'll see, actually, my list sort of does progress chronologically, because my journey was really something that happened over time as I became more to appreciate food. But this definitely for me, like for sure, was the beginning part of that. Like if I had not seen this movie, I don't know whether I had that wake up call that kind of put me on that journey, because I was not had the same background as you at all of being adventurous and trying a bunch of different types of food growing up. And this movie, I think, was a major spark in going on that journey for myself. So have you seen the film?
Yeah, I have seen the film. It's been a while. I haven't seen it in years and years, but it makes sense. It sounds like this movie was like a reset for you.
Mm-hmm.
My relationship with this movie is interesting because I didn't grow up in a big sort of fast food culture. That said, growing up in India, there is a lot of unhealthy food all around you. It's a very carb heavy diet. It can be, extra on the spices and the oil and such, especially if you eat out. But at home, at least, our food was, I think, as healthy as it could be. That said, there's still more to do there, and still is. So for me, this movie was not so much of a reset point the way it might have been for you. But I did see it, I think, once I had moved to the US. So it was more of just a window into life and culture in the US. and connecting the dots of the people who were around me, why it was hard to shake old habits in people. So, for example, at grad school, I was always wanting to do small group dinners with different people. And I wanted to pick the weirdest places or cuisines that I'd never seen. And I could see a lot of people were very hesitant to that. And watching this movie was, in a way, for me, a way to empathize that, oh, if you've grown up with a certain set diet, and this could happen really anywhere, it doesn't apply to only the US. It's really hard to shake that. So it sounds like you sort of really intentionally did that, and this movie kind of became a gateway into that, which is awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And it was, again, it wasn't necessarily about so much for me, the health, but that was definitely Morgan Spurlock's aspect of approaching this. It just made me see food more, at least in the US, or how, maybe we view food here as like commodification of, hey, this is just something for you to eat, to then consume more of it, to buy more of it. That part of it was like, like the food shouldn't really be about that. And how can I start moving away from that particular type of, relationship with food? So that was really the spark for me, though obviously it is a healthy thing to do too, to not eat these food. But for me, that was really the wake up call.
Hey there, it's Alex. If you like the review and discussion Karan and I just had, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Movies That Shaped Us, to get full episodes. Every other Wednesday, Karan and I cover a topic around important people, places, events, and moments in our lives, and then explore it through 3 of our favorite movies. Subscribe right now, or follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts via the link in the description below. Hope you join us for the journey.